Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? So we are set up already. I'm going to just open up a new gesture drawing sheet, get my keyboard shortcut thing set up, and then we're just going to jump right in. I hope that y'all have had a great week. Hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. I probably will stream for about an hour today, and then I'll jump off. And I also think I'm gonna see how this one does, but I'll probably start to try and hey, Unknown, how's it going? I'm probably gonna try to do a live stream on Saturdays, like every other Saturday or something like that, and do a regular video on the opposing Saturday. So, all right, so let's first of all, I gotta get this thing up, and welcome, Unknown, welcome. Appreciate you jumping on. All right. Why isn't this working? Let's go to brush, maybe. Okay, that was weird. Alright, so yeah, the way that I like to do these streams is I like to do gesture drawings in the beginning. So I have about like 15-20 minutes of gesture drawing that I'm going to do, and then I will move into anatomy practice. So let's start. Alright. I have a mixture of poses from different manga that I have as the reference for these gestures, and I also have, sorry, give me 1 second, Unknown, I will get to your question. So yeah, I also have some of Mark Bernay's stuff as like a reference to. This is a little closer in that angle. And this one's a manga pose. I'm not going to draw the feet in this one, only, actually I'll draw feet. I was going to say only because the feet aren't in the actual image, but it's good practice. Alright. Okay, I'm doing a one shot. I've thought of world building, but not the story. So how do you think of the story? I think that's hard because to me the first thought that comes up is actually the story before I even do anything, right? I mean, I guess the question becomes what kind of world have you built? And then if you're a person that enjoys the world building aspect, then you create a fun world, and then you think, okay, so how can I make a story that explores this world in an interesting way, right? So for instance, in part of your world building, if you have yeah. So you would want to get if you work traditionally but you want to post online, you want to get yourself a pretty good scanner, and that way you can scan the stuff in, because you want it to look as good as possible. If you take a picture of it, for instance, it's not gonna come out too great. But yeah, so if you're a person that does world building first, I'd recommend that you create your world, and then you think of how you can have somebody explore that world. So for instance, in your world, it might be a main a main thing where, for instance, the politics of your world are very corrupt, right? So now you've already gotten several characters. You can get a character that that wants to embark on a trip to make justice in that corrupt political world. You have maybe a character that wants to keep things the same. So you already have like a protagonist and an antagonist. And then you might have a character, for instance, that's kind of confused and isn't sure which side. So you have like a few different just characters there. Something like that is what I would recommend. It's kind of hard, like, because story's like the first thing that I think about, and then I build a world around the story. And once you create your characters too, like the thing that helps with the story after you've created characters is, and I actually, the video that I created just the other day kind of covers this, but if you create those characters and really like flesh them out like well, you should be able to drop them in a circumstance and it should kind of write itself. Like how they would react to the circumstance, what they would do, would they, are they the kind of character that gets help, or are they a solo act character that might impact whether or not they're even successful. And another thing that's like important with your story too, and again this is from my last video that I posted last weekend, but what's the theme, right? What are these, like, what do you believe in? What do you want the world to think about when they're looking at your manga or reading it, right? What's important to you? So when you're doing gestures, you want to make sure that you're using similar shapes as you go through. And the reason for that is because you want to come up, like, gesture for comic creators or manga creators is like, it's really important for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons too is to be able to figure out how you want to convey the body in simple shapes. And then once you've figured that out, now you have a system to create characters, do thumbnails and things like that in a way that's super fast. And really, manga is going to be, especially like digital stuff. I mean, granted, it doesn't really matter if it's digital or not, actually, so I'll take that back. But manga is about how quickly can you get your content out, and how how good of a job are you going to do of portraying something with as little lines as possible? And the reason for that is because of the speed factor as well. So this is going to help you with those kinds of things if you really want to be a manga creator and do like an ongoing series. Well, here's what I've thought of so far. After the death of the Demon King with the hero sacrifice, the Demon Prince wants to fulfill his father's dream and take revenge on the hero's family. Years later, the last remnant of the hero's family has come back for revenge and to slaughter the Demon Prince. That's an interesting story for a lot of reasons, but is the hero actually the antagonist in this? Because you could write that either way. I think it would be more interesting almost to have in your story have the main character and the protagonist be the Demon Prince, right? And he could have like a positive arc of like coming to terms with the fact that what his family did was like kind of wrong. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty interesting story. I mean, we see it, it's an archetype, right? We do see something very similar to that, like in a lot of different aspects. But it is still like it's an archetype that works, right? He's actually the hero's son. Interesting. I like stories like the one you have because both parties are in the wrong, like in some way, right? It's not like, I don't like stories where there's like a clear-cut good and evil, because it's just not how life works. You know, I mean, sometimes it is, right? Sometimes we have people out there that are just kind of evil, right? They murder people or what have you. But most of the time, when you're looking at like cultures and larger scale things, a good portion of the time at least, there is no clear cut. There's always like something murky about it. That one came out pretty ugly. Give me 1 second, sorry. Can you give me some tips on drawing the muscles? I've always had problems with them, and the hands a little bit, or you can make a video about them. That's for you to decide. I'll probably, I'm gonna get ready to do some anatomy in just a minute. Like, I think I only have, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have one more gesture right here, and then I am gonna go into anatomy. Hands are something that I think every artist has like very similar struggles with because they're almost like a human body by themselves. So I'm just gonna be very upfront with you. I don't do a great job of drawing hands yet. I'm hoping that that's something once I start my manga here in a couple of months. I'm hoping that's something that starts to get better for me as I create. Because it's like hands and feet are probably like the last things for me that I really still struggle like a lot, I would say, to draw. Everything else I struggle, but it's just like it's like normal struggle. Like, I can get it done. It might just take me some time. But yeah, I'll do some anatomy in just a bit, and you can ask questions as I go. Today I kind of planned on doing torso anatomy. I can go over some of the arm anatomy. That's what I've been working on the past few live streams. Oh, never mind. I guess I got maybe a couple more. Thought I only had it up for 10. Sorry. Maybe I did more than that. Or maybe I miscounted. It's probably more likely. Alright, so that was the last one. I just miscounted. Alright, so let's, I'm going to go into anatomy. So let's start off with, plus there's an aura or the power of the character like in Dragon Ball. I'm not so good in drawing them either. Plus, what's the day for you right now? For me, it's night. What about you? So I'm in the eastern United States, so it is 2:20 for me in the afternoon. Alright, aura is something that I still have to work on because that is difficult. And I don't know if I would be able to give you a pointer on it that would be helpful for traditional art. I'd have to think about that. So maybe if you come in a later stream, I might be able to help you a little bit more on that. I'll think about it. Where was I gonna go? I need to go to. Yo, what's up, Coop? Why can't I think? Where am I going? Where are my references? Ah, here it goes. I found it. Ooh, that was driving me nutty. I'm doing pretty well. How are you, Coop? Let's start off with the front view of the body. Nice. What kind of things? Let me get another layer going so I can get a skeleton. Alright. So let's start off with just the basic head. Oh, nice. Yep. Can you recommend some anime that is related to the topic of action horror? To be honest, like, I mean, one would be like Tokyo Ghoul. That one, I mean, I haven't personally watched that one, but I think that's like one of the leading manga and anime in that particular field. Parasite is another one that I somewhat watched a little bit of that fits that category. But one that's like actually sneaky good, and it's more of like it's a video game, but they did make like an animated series for, is actually Dead Space. I played Dead Space when it first came out in like 2008 or 9 or whenever that was. It's got a really good story to it. Even if you want to just look on YouTube, there's a guy that I just discovered recently. His name is like Roanoke something. But he like breaks down the story and stuff like that. I would highly recommend that as well. But those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Berserk kind of almost fits into that category just because of how brutal it is. I wouldn't really call it a horror though. Let's keep this. This is a little bit too low. So what I'm doing here, if you can see, I'm doing the same base as what I was just doing a second ago. That's really important. I feel like it took me, I don't know why, but it took me a little while to like figure out how important that was. So one hand, I'm gonna do kind of, what is that? I know one is, the other one, this hand position that I'm getting ready to draw now, this is called supine. I can't remember what the other one's called. Alright, so we have, might as well draw the legs. I could probably also start simplifying legs today. I'm just gonna take this lasso, pull it up and shrink it just a smidge, just to give myself a little bit more room on the canvas. Coop, what I was gonna say earlier, you said you were always getting better and improving. I think I've said this in a video before, or it was in one of my last like live streams, but the moment that you stop improving is the moment that you have failed. Or stop thinking you have to improve, let me put it that way. Let me see something really fast. My brain always gets this like confused. Let me see here. Let me pull up this view really fast. So yeah, it's this way. Good try, Coop. Good try. I'm not sure how that would help you though. Also, like, I'm a little curious as to how you see that happening, because it's a little suspect. It makes me feel like you have like cameras like set up somewhere that you shouldn't. Alright, let me see how the sizing perfect. Oh, that's so creepy. That could be like its own, like, that's a horror manga right there for you. Alright, so now I have the basic structure. Let me look at, alright, so I've already gotten shapes for my arms kind of like solidified. How do you think of ways to practice drawing? Every time I want to draw, I always run out of ideas. And how do you improve in drawing anime eyes? I practice things that I know that I'm going to have to like do in the future. I would just recommend, to be honest with you, especially with like webcomics, like the art quality ranges so much. Like the best way to actually practice is to just start doing your project, whatever your project is, and be okay with the fact that your art and your panels are going to suck for a little while, and then you use reference to help you create what you need to create, and then you build and you build, and eventually you get really good. Or you can do what I'm doing, which is just like, you know that there's something that you really need to get down in order to get where you want to go, and you just practice that like consistently on a weekly basis. You don't want to stretch yourself too thin. Like, you don't want to work on everything all at once. You want to work on the fundamentals first. So fundamentals being like perspective, gesture, proportions, anatomy. I can't remember what I said first. I think I said perspective. Structure. Something as simple as just like line art. Those kinds of things will help you like almost immediately level up. And then after you've gotten that down as your like foundation, then you go into like the other one I guess that's a fundamental is like values, which I really struggle with, which is shading and stuff like that, and colors. And then after you've gotten that down, then you go into things like how do you draw metal, or render metal, how do you draw clothing, how do you draw an aura, for instance. But if you go in that order of things, like gesture, probably like structure, gesture, proportions, then I would say probably perspective, anatomy, and stuff like that. If you go through that, then you'll get better as you go. Anime eyes. So I would recommend that you don't just study other like eyes from other anime. You want to first like think of like the structure of an eye, and how eyes are like what an actual eye is like. So for instance, like I kind of know, let's do, I'm gonna actually make this bigger so I can show this as best as I can. So like, one of the things that I know a good portion about, or a good bit about, is like the structure of like the skull. So like, your brow line is about at the halfway point of the head. It's a little high. And then if you split this section in half, you get like where the nose is, and you split this into thirds, and that's kind of where the mouth is. I know this is a lot, but just bear with me for a second. And then you get like the cheekbones in here, the mouth, again the cheekbones on this side. And if you split this section in half again, you're gonna get the eye sockets, and they're kind of shaped, I did circles, but they're actually kind of shaped more like this. They're like kind of like rounded squares. And I probably could have kept, this is about right. So the reason why it's important to know this is, actually let me lasso. Just give me 1 second. Just want to get this on. All the way up, and merge. Okay. All right. So I know now, for instance, that the whole eyeball is going to fit in here. I'm going to do one more layer. So the whole eyeball fits in here. On top of this eye socket, so I have this area up here. This is where the eyebrow is going to rest, right? Kind of right at the top. So now, what happens? What do we actually, for anime eyes, you get something like this, right? There's like variations, but this is typically what you get. Like something like this. And then, you would also get like the little shines and stuff like that. And you get the heavy upper lash, a little on the side, and maybe like so even with me just doing like a very quick version, I'm thinking of all of this in here. So the eyeballs are here, and now what we get is we get this like, granted this eyeball is a little big, but this part right in here, this is this. All of this in here is going to be on the darker side, because if you look at my eyes, like right in here, that's what I'm coloring in right now, is right here. So my eyeball is like this, right, and it's plopped into the socket. It's recessed into the socket a little bit, right, because like your brow line serves as like this this umbrella almost. And now you don't see the entire eyeball, right? The eyeball is covered up by lids. So you're gonna get a lid that kind of wraps around right in here is where the tear duct is, so that's this section here that I've drawn. And then you're gonna get this part of the eye dropping downwards, and has this like curvature like this because of how the eyeball is. And then it comes down and then up and then in, right? And now we can also do this part up here is like the fold of the eyelid, and it kind of just follows along the same line. And now you have an eye, right? Practice drawing eyes. He's looking like N too much, but practice thinking about the structure of an eye, and then after you've figured all of that stuff out and you've practiced it and you've really looked into it, then you're going to start to look at different anime and manga and figure out what they're doing, because if you go and you just are trying to copy what you're seeing and you're not really understanding what's going on underneath or the anatomy, then you're not going to get something that looks good. You're just gonna get like an imitation. Like for instance, my eyes are kind of like this, like my style, and they kind of look a lot like JoJo's Bizarre Adventures eyes in a lot of ways. But you can do a more realistic eye too, that's not got these like harsh edges that mine do, and they're kind of rounded, right? You can do, for instance, like My Hero Academia has characters whose eyes, like Deku, for instance, his eyes are like almost complete circles. But like that, you get like Bleach. It's got these like really like long, like adult looking eyes for all the characters. But if you notice, like, even though these are all different styles of eyes that I'm drawing, I have a very similar construction to them all. Right? Dragon Ball, for instance. The eyes for these are pretty funny because they always look like super angry. But it also just like, I have to like look because like Dragon Ball's funny with their eyes, but you get this kind of like effect like this almost, where Akira Toriyama has just decided, I'm just gonna meld them together and make the characters all look like super angry almost, right? This isn't a perfect Dragon Ball eye. I mean, none of these are perfect, but you get my drift. Like, something like this. But if you understand the basic anatomy that's coming with the eye, then you can kind of make a decision based off of that and start to pick and choose which things that you actually want to utilize. Like for instance, the reason why I put the eyebrow up here is because if the eyeball itself is this large, then that would mean that the eye socket has to be super large as well, because the eyeball fits into the eye socket and then there's a little bit of space and then the brow. So that's why I put kind of the eyebrow a little higher up than the other ones. So that's let me finish this one, it's gonna bother me. So that's my take on eyes. But in this process I just showed you is literally what I'm doing today. Like, I'm looking at actual anatomy, and I'm simplifying it in a way that hopefully can be reproducible pretty quickly. Hopefully that was helpful. Alright, so let's go back here. So anatomy for this guy, let me get in his collarbones here. Alright, and then I always do this, this needs to stop like here. Just realized I have like kind of a bad habit of making the sternum too long. Alright. So we got all of that. I'm gonna have to, sorry everybody, I will be right back. I just need to use the restroom really fast. Yeah, what I'll do is, Unknown is, give me 1 second, Coop, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'll be right back. Unknown, when I finish doing some of the anatomy stuff here, I'll talk about like, and I can even bring up some references, I'll talk to you about inking. Give me 1 second, everybody. Also, can y'all tell me, how's the music volume? Is it pretty good? Tell me when I get back, because I can't hear it. Alrighty, I am back. Alright, good. As long as y'all can hear me alright, and it's not like overpowering my voice. Yeah, I'll go into inking and I'll like show examples and stuff in a bit. I also went and got my music so I can not be sitting in silence. Oh, Lord. Coop. Alright. Alright, so let's go ahead and start. Alright, so the anatomy here. Alright, so we get alright, so the pecs, your pecs actually connect to your humerus, so your arm bone up at the top. And they actually go over top of the bicep. One thing that I need to do really fast, since I edited the sternum, is I just need to take the arm and just pull it up just a bit. Your elbow goes to about the bottom of your rib cage. Anywhere between the bottom of the rib cage and like your belly button is a good spot for the elbow. And then your wrist bone hits at about where your hip bone is, and your hand basically perfectly covers up where your groin area is. So we get the pec that goes over top of the bicep. So in this view, with the hand turned towards the body, your bicep is going to kind of go in like that. So you're gonna get this, and then the delt, so the shoulder muscle, is going to kind of squeeze its way in just a bit, and then you're gonna get a little bit of the, what is that one? The brachialis muscle, I believe is what it's called. There's like a small little muscle that separates your bicep from your tricep, and it like basically is an offshoot of where your delt is. And then you're gonna get the tricep in here, and now the forearm muscles. This is probably turned in just a bit too much. I think it needs to be like here. So I'm gonna push this all back just a bit. Yeah, it feels a little better for me. I'm gonna choose to probably, in my style, not really draw that muscle that separates the two in there, just because it's not really necessary. That's a great question. I would tell my younger self, I wish I could go back and tell myself to not stop doing my manga that I was doing, and to slow down, not move so fast. Like, be okay with the fact that you're gonna be okay with the fact that you're going to have to draw the same things over and over again. That's probably what I would say to my younger self. So we're gonna get a little bit of elbow. I'm trying to think here from this angle. What's gonna happen? So here to here. Let me. Thank you, Coop. Yeah, I think that this muscle on this side is gonna go up. So there's like a relationship. So like your forearm muscles are kind of complicated because they twist. The muscle here, what is that one called? Oh no, this is the brachioradialis muscle because it attaches to the bottom of the brachius muscle and then goes to your radial muscle. The radial bone, I should say. radius, I believe, is the one. Yeah, the radius is like, so your bones, your arm bones, they twist like this in the forearm, unless you're supine and then they're straight. And the radius muscle, or bone, sorry, keep saying muscle. The radius muscle, it's going to point towards your thumb, whereas your ulna, which is where your elbow is going to point towards your pinky. So when your arm is like this one is, so the hand is, like the thumb is facing inward, this muscle is going to pop down and come down like this towards your thumb. And then your other muscle is going to take like a back seat, or not a back seat, it's going to go towards this bone here where your pinky is. This arm is like painfully straight, so what I'm going to do is take it and rotate it out a bit. And then I'm going to take this bottom part and rotate it inward like that. That feels and looks much better. And I could just clean this up. This could probably come up a bit. Alright. Hey, what's up, Mr. Rainbow? Alright, so let's see what we got. I'll probably go in and clean up the lines after this. Alright, so that is the arm with the hands. Facing this direction. Alright, I don't know why I'm being so scratchy today. I need to stop doing that. So let's do this side with the arm. Here, let me. There it goes. With the arm supine. So again, the pec is going to here and here. I'm gonna erase this away. This could probably come in a bit. Alright, this probably can go a little bit further out, actually, so somewhere like that. Alright, so now we get, okay, that sounds good enough. Alright, so now with the arm supine, the inner portion is going to be higher than the outer portion for the forearm muscle. Again, this is a little too straight, so I'm going to Shift add all of this, and I want to also add that. So I'm just gonna pull this out just a tad, and then I can pull this one in just a bit. That makes me feel a little better. Alright. So we got that. Daniel, what's going on? Hope that you're doing well. Appreciate you joining the stream. From this angle, you're gonna get a little bit of the tricep actually in the back too. The tricep, just so y'all are aware, so from the front, you're always going to see the tricep because the tricep's a much bigger muscle than the bicep is. From the back, you might not, you're gonna have some angles where you're not going to see the bicep. So just so y'all are aware. I want to see something really quick before I move forward, because the let me see if I can find a good example here. Here we go. Let me see if I can find one that's got a little bit more muscle tone to it. I'm just checking my my anatomy really fast. One thing I probably could do is I could push this out just a bit more. Like that, probably. Alright, that feels a little better. Alright, so then we get the lat and the back. And alright, so now we have the arms are pretty much done, so everything in the upper body I have completed. Now I want to go into the torso. Alright, so the torso is a little difficult for me to wrap my head around how I want to simplify it. So like the arms, I have a pretty simple like shape pattern going. I have like this shape for the delt. I have that shape for the pec. Then I have this like rupee shape for the bicep, tricep, and then forearm. Just like a simple drumstick, and then I have to work on hands just in general, but hand. So pretty simplified shapes there. I don't have that quite created for the torso yet, so that's something I want to make sure I get these overlaps correct because it's going to bother me. I don't have that quite done ready yet for the torso. Alright, so let's experiment here. So we got the belly button here. So that's going to mean that we're going to get abs right in here. So let's experiment with just doing this. I think what happened here, yeah. So what happened here is when I made my mistake earlier on with the sternum, it created a situation where my body is now a little bit too, the upper body is a little bit too far away, which is why I just kind of stopped a second ago. Because it's a little bit too far. Okay, so that I think, let's see here, from here to here, here. Yeah, that's better. So that's why I just kind of stopped. Alright, yeah, I definitely need to work on abs, like simplifying the abs. Alright, let me erase this away and we'll try something different. So let's try doing a line straight down belly button. And then let's just do Inyo-san. What's up? I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you joining the stream. Appreciate all y'all joining the stream. I don't know if this is my first Saturday stream. No, because I think I did a Saturday stream when I got 500 subs or something like that a while back. So, but yeah, I appreciate all y'all hopping in. It means the world to me. Alright, so we got, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at how Mark simplifies abs. Let's see what we got here. Interesting. Okay. So Mark just does, I'm gonna steal it, because it looks pretty good. He just does these like boxy shapes. Here, and then looks good to me. And then I do want to include the serratus anterior muscle. Just a bit. I like doing 3, and I've always kind of simplified it like that, so I'm just going to continue that for myself. And then we get just a connection here. And we are done with the torso. That looks pretty good, I think. Definitely got to clean it up, but... And this, I kind of want to do this here. All right. so let me do the neck muscles really fast. This needs to be plopped up a bit. See here. Also, if y'all have, make sure y'all are asking questions. If you have any questions or anything that you want to be asking me, just ask. I will answer as quickly as I can. Alright, so now we have like a bit of a simplification for the abs, which is those boxy shapes that Mark Bernay does, which I like because it's like, it's super simple and it looks pretty convincing. Anatomy books. Give me 1 second. I will show you the one that I have that I do enjoy and I do look into it a lot. I don't know. It like just depends too. If you're not a book person, like a person that really learns via book, I would recommend videos. But give me 1 second. I have it right over here. This is probably, I'm gonna pull up my actual stream here. This is probably my favorite book. Here it goes. It's called Figure Drawing, Design and Invention by Michael Hampton. You can get it on Amazon. As you can see, like I got bookmarks and stuff. I've used this multiple times and gone back to it and tried to use it to like help me simplify body shapes and things like that. It does a good job of breaking down the head. One of my favorite pages, actually, if I can. Yeah, this is my favorite stuff. That he does. He like takes. I'm not gonna show all of it because this is his book, and I don't wanna. I'm not gonna show all, but stuff like that is super helpful. So the way that I use, like, I would use those kinds of books and any other books that are like anatomy related, is you want to first have whatever your foundation is. So like for instance, if I go back to my drawings here, my figure drawings, this is what I would call like my foundation of like a character, for instance. So you want to now figure out, after you've done this, you want to figure out, okay, what's the next steps for me to build on top of that foundation. And that book that I just showed you, again, I'll tell you it's Figure Drawing, Design and Invention by Michael Hampton. I can probably put it in the chat for you as well. But the way that you use that is, sorry, I can't multitask. Give me 1 second, D1 Studio. Figure Drawing, Design and Invention, Michael Hampton. So like that page that I showed you with the pecs, that is like, so you take that shape. So let me show you. So he in that book states that the pecs are shaped like a fish. So you can kind of see like that's a fish shape. Like when we were all kids, we would do like that as a fish. It's pretty much the same shape, just squared off, right? And now he also says like, okay, so this is what it looks like in 2D. This is what it looks like in 3D. This is like a view from above, of course. And then you get here, 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 and then I will erase this away and darken that in for you a bit. It's kind of rounded. So now we've gotten this 3D shape, and now you can plop this on top of that and you have the pack. And you also have like a decent understanding of how to shade it, right? So that's how I would use anatomy books. You use it, you learn the anatomy, you understand like what the name is, and you don't have to be able to memorize all of those things, but it does help with the learning process. You want to look at things like, okay, where does it connect? Does it go underneath or on top of other muscles? But really it's just, you take it, you learn those kinds of things, and then you do what I'm doing now, which is you figure out a way to create that anatomy on your foundation in the simplest manner that you can. Yeah, that's how I would use it. And then you go back to it when you have questions, because sometimes you're going to forget. Like, I forget all the time. Like, oh, does this muscle go underneath? Where's this actually attached to on the bone? That's another thing, is use it for understanding, like, the bones as well of the body, because bones are going to provide you with the landmarks that you need to be able to accurately do anatomy. Hopefully that helps. Do you want to? Yeah. I know it was long-winded, but all right. So let's go here. Okay. Yeah, no problem. And like, are you what kind of art are you planning on doing? Are you doing manga style art, or what are you planning on doing your art for? Because that also, I think, plays a huge role. All right. Manga. So I would actually, like, you don't need to have, like, I think that I personally probably have too much knowledge of anatomy for, like, not too much, it's never too much, but I think that I know more than is probably necessary. Like, you just need to know, like, okay, this is the shape that I want to use in my manga, and as long as within, like, because somebody's going to look at each panel for, like, maybe 3 seconds at a maximum, as long as it's enough to convince that person that it's a human being, you've done your job, right? So you don't need to go that in depth. Just make sure you're pulling out the shapes and you're able to plop those shapes on your foundation, and then move your foundation around, and still be able to maintain the shapes. That's really it. Alright, so a lot of the muscles within the legs are attached to, like, there's like your hip bone, there's like a part called the iliac crest. A lot of the muscles for your legs that are pretty visible, like, attached to, like, this, like, corner on the iliac crest. And so that's where I tend to start. And I think, like, I've been waiting on doing the legs just because I think I already have a pretty simplified. Oh no, you're fine. Oh no, you don't have to apologize. I appreciate you jumping on it all. Alright, so there's that. Alright. I already have, like, a shape that I like to use for the knee. Let's do the same thing on this side. Up. So, oh man, I can't remember all the muscles of the quads. I just know that they're the quads. The inner one is called the Oh man, that's gonna bother me. I'm gonna have to remember. I'm trying to think of what this muscle is called. Again, it's all the quads, but anyways, this one drops down further than the outside. The outside drops a little bit higher, so like where I have it's probably a little too high, but that's all right. And then the middle one, rectus femoris, I do remember that one, is the highest. And that kind of is just right in the middle. So I'm gonna repeat that on this side. This one's like the medialis, and this one's the lateralis, I believe, or something like that. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna, because it's gonna bug me. I'm gonna sit here and think about it for the next like 20 minutes. Let's do sketchbook, school, anatomy for memory. Upper leg. Structure cell. I did remember the sartorius, which is the sartorius, whatever, the one in the outside. Vastus is the okay, so rectus femoris is the middle one that I was just showing. So you can see there. Vastus medialis is the inner part that I was showing there, and vastus lateralis is the outside that I was talking about. Okay, vastus, I forgot. Alright, so vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, sartorius, and then boing, boing. And then we get this one here. Here as well, and get a little bit of a divot, and then out, a little bit of divot, out. Leg is done, and then I've already got the shape that I want within my figures, my foundation for the calf muscle, so I'm not going to really mess with that too much. I think this is fine. Not going to be seeing the calf too frequently in the manga anyways, because a lot of manga is like from here up. Yeah, you do get a lot of full body, but at that point though, you're not needing a whole bunch of detail, right? And I can do this as well. Alright, I think that works. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's a pretty decent looking body. I think that this can come out further. Same on this side. And other than that, I'm pretty happy with this. Like, yeah. And I can maybe put the head in just so I have it.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
Huh?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just
Max, stop.
you say hi.
Oh, are you streaming?
Yeah.
Sorry. Hello.
Do you recall practicing drawing at an early morning or whatever you wake up? Yeah, every once in a while I would used to do that, but Shannon, yeah. But I haven't done that in a while, and the reason is because I'm too tired to retain the information, so I stopped.
How long have you been streaming?
About an hour. I was gonna finish up in just a second.
Okay.
I got some stuff to paint because we needed to get a something to put the cabinets on, so I went and got that today.
We did no tarp in the garage.
Well, it needs to be like elevated and on something where we can plop it so I can paint it to make it easier.
Cool.
Do I recommend? It just depends. Like, if you are. Yeah, it just depends. If you're gonna wake up early to practice because it's like the only time you'd have in the day, then yeah, I think it could be helpful. But if you have other times in the day to practice and you're not a morning, that's another thing too. Like if you're a person that you're like a really good morning person, then maybe it would be worthwhile, right? Have to put a PG-13 rating on my video so it doesn't get demonetized. Yeah, it just depends on who you are and whether or not you're functional in the morning. I wouldn't recommend waking up early to learn something. So like, for instance, for me, I could probably wake up every morning and do figure drawing for 10 minutes and it wouldn't, like, I would be able to retain stuff because figure drawing is pretty easy for me at this point. I still have a lot to work on, but it's at least something that's like coming natural to me. But doing this, for instance, I would not be able to wake up early in the morning and do this because it wouldn't retain anything. So, just depends. Alrighty. I'm pretty happy with this. So, I've figured out a good shapes for the abs. I figured out a good shape. The pecs are easy. I figured out good shapes for the arms. I am gonna still I need to pull this one in. This looks painful. Much better. So I have good shapes for this as well. This probably pop up a little bit. In the legs, I was pretty comfortable with my legs already, just because, you know, it was something that I've been kind of practicing with just my figures anyways. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. Like, if I can reproduce this on a consistent basis for my manga, I think it would be fine. So, alright everybody, I think that is going to do it for today. I did like doing this. This is nice. I prefer to do a live stream for an hour and a half than to create like a video, but at some point I'll create a video probably going over different parts of the anatomy. Like, I'll probably do like a how do you draw arm anatomy video and how do you do like torso anatomy and stuff like that, once I have finished solidifying my own style, because that'll be like a good way for me to practice. So but yeah, I hope that y'all have a great rest of your weekend. If you're a football fan and you're gonna watch the Super Bowl, hopefully you enjoy it. I know I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. Yeah, and you know, I'll probably put up some polls and stuff soon. Oh, before I forget, give me 1 second. I'm gonna put up, yes, I'm gonna put up the Discord stuff. But make sure you follow Discord or join our Discord if you want to like maybe give some ideas on videos that you might like and stuff like that. I will also see if I can't get the link and drop it in the chat really fast for y'all. Oh, thanks, Coop. Appreciate it. But yeah, join the Discord. I try to talk with everybody at least a couple of times a week in there. But yeah, just feel free to give me some ideas on what you might want to see in a future video. But, all right. Hope y'all have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you on Tuesday. I'll live stream Tuesday. Next Thursday, I won't be able to live stream. I have a test and then I'm going out of state. I'm going to try to have a video finished before then so that Saturday a video gets plopped up. But I will see y'all in the next one. All right. Thank you all for hanging out and chilling. Peace.